What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. What I want to discuss in today's video, it's actually pretty simple. First, we have a new stimulus bill that's being considered. We also are going to address how the student loan payment pause could be extended. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an update there. We're going to address what President Biden said today regarding Omicron and vaccinations, and I want to provide you with some daily news as well. Also going to tell you how the passports are actually going to be more expensive in just 1 week. So if you're thinking about traveling abroad and you do not have a passport, or you just want to renew yours, now might be a good time to do that. So let's get into the update for today. First, according to reports, House Democrats are already planning a new stimulus bill. They're not going to wait. They say that it is time that the American people finally see what has been waiting for them. They're saying that right now is the time that we need to pass additional stimulus, additional infrastructure. We need to push for more to the American people. House Democrats, and this is coming from a lot of progressives as well, are saying that we need to provide for the American people. We need to give them what they all deserve. Here's what I can tell you. What the plan is, according to reports, is that these House Democrats are going to take the private plan that was proposed by Senator Joe Manchin to President Biden. They're going to take that proposal and modify it. Now, according to a few reports, here's what they are contemplating at this time. They will keep pre-K, universal pre-K, for likely 10 years, not the full 10 years like Senator Joe Manchin proposed. They will also provide a minimal amount of the Affordable Care Act expansion and subsidies. They also want to include climate spending, and that will be at what President Biden has demanded last. Now, I'm not exactly sure what President Biden demanded last, so I will dig into that. But what I can tell you is that was a number that, according to reports, Senator Joe Manchin got close to, but he didn't match what President Biden wanted. The other issue is exactly how they work that out and the verbiage behind it. So we'll see what happens there. But here's the two differences. They want to include paid family leave, and they want to see an extension of the child tax credit payments. Here's what we could see, because this is what many were talking about and projecting when it came to the expiration of the unemployment benefits, was we can't go from 600 down to 0. It would go from 600 down to 400, and then 3, 2, 1, and then finally expire. That was the initial discussions. So at this time, what some are saying is we need to go back to somewhat of a phase out, so that the American people, specifically those with lower incomes and children, those are the ones that are going to be negatively impacted by going from $300 or $250 per month down to 0. So let's go from, let's say, $300, let's say for the first year for children between the ages of 0 and 5, and $250 for children between the ages of 6 and 17. Let's do that for the first, let's say, year or maybe 2 years. Then let's maybe cut that in half and let's phase it out. That's what they're, at least according to reports, that's what is possibly being considered. The reason why I say possibly is because this is something that there's lawmakers that are talking and discussing amongst themselves. But again, if these are really, junior lawmakers, it's not going to do much, okay? It needs to be out there with our leadership, with the majority of the House and the Senate, and right now it's just not there. So we'll see what happens on that front. We do know reports that are also indicating that as of right now, that they're discussing tax credits and paid leave, but having some sort of a limit. Because right now, Senator Joe Manchin, he doesn't approve of either one of these. So unless they potentially go by themselves to put them in a bill and make it more of a with paid family leave, child tax credits, the climate provisions, the Affordable Care Act expansion, and include universal pre-K, some are saying that's going to be very difficult to do all those things and keep it under $1.75 trillion. So we'll see what happens there. Some big news out today, though, is that the Biden administration is actually considering, according to reports, the extension of the student loan payment pause. This is something that we learned a couple months ago, that the Education Department and Miguel Cardona stated that that was the final time that they were going to do a payment pause extension. But too many lawmakers pushed back on this, so things are ultimately going to change. One of the big issues, though, and one of the other issues, is that many reports were indicating that the restart of the payments were actually one of the leading causes, and this is going to create many issues for the Education Department. And because they didn't want to make things even more complicated on themselves and borrowers, that they plan on just extending the payment pause until they can really figure this out. Now, again, I think they've had a lot of time to figure this out, but at the same time, they've kind of just been dragging their feet, not sure what to do, not sure if the Biden administration or Congress was going to either forgive student loans, which would make it a whole lot easier on the Education Department. But we didn't know any of this stuff until just recently, so this is why they're considering doing a payment pause. As to how long the payment pause extension might be, some are speculating that could be anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So it's not going to be extremely long, but it would be long enough to get through this current surge that we are in of the Omicron variant. So again, as I know more there, I promise I will fill you in on that news as well. But let's get into the discussions of the passports. For anybody thinking about traveling abroad, if you do not have a passport or you need to renew yours, now might be a good time to do so. Next week, starting on December 27th, I believe, passport prices will increase by $20 each. So if you're planning a trip outside the country, this would be a great time to get your passport and actually save some money. Now, you would have to pretty much go this week. You would have to go this week, and most likely tomorrow would be the final day, tomorrow or Thursday. So keep in mind, you would have to do it very soon. For children who get their passports, normally you pay, I believe it's $115. I believe it's $115 to get your passport. It would actually increase to $135 if you wait until next week. So just keep in mind, it could get rather expensive if you wait just 1 week. Now, one worry that Americans are having right now regarding the economy and COVID is how the Omicron variant is going to impact them. Now, we know many schools are already making changes. They're already planning to go back to remote learning. We know restaurants are said to be planning these changes as well, but many restaurants are just waiting to see how things unfold. Here's what I can tell you. What we know is that many larger restaurant chains, they have said that the labor shortage is really what has impacted them the most and has been the biggest factor for them. Right now, with jobs coming back, people simply living with COVID, right? It's something that we're gonna have to live with according to many health experts. This is actually making it easier on restaurants. What we are hearing is that restaurants at this time are likely to stay open even with COVID pretty much surging and more outbreaks, simply because they have figured out a way, and this, I think this is awesome, this is great, they figured out a way to live with COVID. Not in the restaurant itself, but when other people, right, in the community have COVID, and let's say they can't, come to the restaurant and have, dine in. What do? Well, there's things like pickup, drive up, delivery. There's even outdoor dining, and I understand a lot of those people that have COVID aren't going to leave the house to go do drive up and pick up and outdoor dining, but you can get delivery. Someone could drop it off at your door, knock on your door. You can come out to get it when they leave, right? So this is one of the benefits behind what we have seen over the past year is restaurants, they have maybe not perfected how to live with COVID, but they have definitely benefited by the changes that they've made. So it's really good news there. In other news regarding COVID, with the holidays just around the corner and just days away, many pharmacies are actually having a very hard time keeping at-home COVID tests on hand. Now, yes, the Biden administration is going to send out about 500 million at-home COVID tests for free. All you got to do is request one. The problem is those are not going to come out until January. So many people have stated that they go to the stores, but the COVID tests are just flying off the shelves because people are planning on using them to determine if they're even able to attend a holiday party or not. with what the CDC said yesterday, that Omicron now accounts for more than, I believe it was 73% of COVID cases. Many worry that right now they could be the ones spreading the virus. So how do they combat this? Well, they get a COVID test themselves. Problem is, with long lines at some of these COVID testing centers, it is almost impossible for somebody that has a job to go and do that. So what do? They get an at-home test. The problem is they're very hard to come by. I was very fortunate enough to buy a bunch. I didn't get pallets, but able to buy probably like 5 or so. I think a couple weeks back. And so it's a good thing to have if you're able to afford them, number one. And if you are just worried and want to make sure everybody's safe, it's a good thing to have, especially around the holiday season. Even a Walgreens spokesperson said today, and I quote, as the nation experiences a surge in COVID-19 cases coinciding with the holidays, we are seeing unprecedented demand for testing services. I was actually at a Walgreens just the other day. There was a long line in the drive-thru to get a COVID test. I thought it was very interesting, but they were pretty efficient and people went through very quickly. Here's what else I can tell you. President Biden has assured Americans that are vaccinated against the COVID that they can actually go ahead with their holiday plans. Even with the Omicron variant surge, he says that this is especially true if you have received both your vaccines and your COVID booster as well. The booster is what is the most effective at this time. But President Biden did go on and say that he knows his vaccine mandates are unpopular. He even said that these are extremely unpopular with Republicans, but they're also extremely unpopular amongst those that are even trying to get the vaccine as well. He did go on to say that these are legal and effective, though. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how legal these are. Yes, vaccines are effective in some cases. We're still trying to figure out how effective they are against the Omicron variant. So again, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. That is what we know at this time. So again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.